Ice Kid Man out of the final corner, and it's a 103.5.
Now, just as you say that, if you're looking inboard with a few of these drivers, the rain is starting to come down.
Man on base there and validating the lap. I don't think we're going to see anybody improve. Ice Kid Man takes his third pole position of the season, though it has to be said, the rain certainly did him a favour. It's lights out and away we go. Ice Kid Man leads away well from Cookie. It's a post off for the AlphaTauri, and the Williams has clear advantages to go into turn one. Little bit of action towards the back. The two Mercedes getting very close together, but as we come out of turn one, Ice Kid Man leads from Cookie 3 wide there. A big incident in the middle. Homicep out of this race before it began, and that will be a safety car straight away. Ice Kid Man has checked out. His Williams can afford to play it safe, can afford to make sure he doesn't pick up any track limits penalties. T-Keg and Hercules continuing to go toe-to-toe. Safety car, full safety car deployed on lap 32.
Oh, here we go, folks.
Hercules coming down the main straight now. And I think the Williams garage is at the end, of course. Ice Kid Man there behind the Red Bull. Hercules coming round, it's so close. Hercules takes the lead. He has 2 laps to hang on to win the Austrian Grand Prix, and Ice Kid Man is alongside him already. Ice Kid Man takes the lead of the Austrian Grand Prix. Here's T-Keg looking to the inside of Hercules on the last lap of the race. We've got a Hercules and T-Keg fighting to the line, but coming out of the final corner is Ice Kid Man for Williams, who wins the Austrian Grand Prix. We got to wait for the penalties to play out. Now Daft finishes third. It's a win for Ice Kid Man. Daft out of nowhere. Good evening, everybody. Welcome along to another round of FR Series Division 5. We are here in the magnificent Spa-Francorchamps for, well, I mean, it's going to be entertaining, isn't it? We just know it's going to be entertaining. I'm Harringzord. I am joined, as always, by our good friend McNugget. How are you doing?
Hello there, everybody. Harringzord, first of all, congratulations on your own first place in Spa just moments ago.
What, you know, didn't want to say anything.
No, Mr. Consistent, Mr. 5th place is now Mr. 5th place with the first thrown in. So if anyone's going to have knowledge on how to do well here, it's going to be Harringzord, folks.
Well, the answer is don't crash. That's the simple lesson here. So this is the wonderful Spa-Francorchamps circuit. Round 8 of this FR Series Division 5 season. It'll be a break week after this one. But it is still all to play for with 5 rounds to go, isn't it? We had a good race last time out.
Indeed, we had lots of action. We had Ice Kid Man basically dominating until a safety car. Hercules having a chance to catch him, sadly didn't. And then Daft coming out of nowhere to get a podium.
And there is that Drivers' Championship. Ice Kid Man now leads the way. We finally usurped King Bart, which I think is good news for all concerned. So Ice Kid Man in the lead with 90 points. T-Keg just behind with 78, and Hercules, the other real contender for the championship, on 71. Close fight in the midfield. Nordy, Mahoney, Homicep, Van on base, all within 10 points. And then there's a little bit of a gap back to Roy Weller, Daft, and the rest. Daft's only had 2 points finishes this season, but it's been a 5th place and a 3rd place. I don't know if Nugget's there. Nugget has been having issues with his internet today. So it might be the case, if he's gone radio silent on me, that his internet has just cut out again. In which case, we will await his return. The cars are just out on their practice laps at the moment, so we'll be into this qualifying session soon enough. Don't you worry. And thank you to everyone for the congratulations for the win in the Division 6 race. That was nervy as anything. And it helps when there's a lot of incidents. As I said, I need chaos to do well. The Constructors' Championship in Division 5 is a close run thing as well. We have got Racing Point still out front with 154 points from Ferrari. And Williams, of course, Williams just with the one car in the field, so scoring well every time Ice Kid Man gets himself a win or a good points finish. Mercedes have been fairly consistent, but had a little bit of a trickier time in Austria. And McLaren and Renault also dropping back behind Williams now. AlphaTauri in 7th, Haas 8th, Red Bull 9th. Evil Steel getting his first point last time out. And Alfa Romeo rounding out the, well, I was going to say top 10, but there are only 10. So I guess top 10 would be kind. So we are looking forward to an exciting race this time round. I've got my scouts with the weather forecast. We're expecting a little bit of rain at the end of this race. Obviously, we don't know whether that's guaranteed, but that, I think, is really, really bloody exciting. And we've not had the chance to commentate on a wet race up to you. So hopefully we can have a fun one, and we'll see. Spa will be very, very difficult in those changeable conditions. So remains to be seen how all of these guys get on during the race. Just got the drivers finishing off the last part of their practice session now, and then we'll be able to get this show underway for you. Just taking a look around the circuit, and who doesn't love a race around the picturesque Spa-Francorchamps, one of the classic F1 circuits on the calendar. Really challenging, a few curbs. This one at Pouhon here, the curb of doom on the inside of there. If you hit the inside of that, you can expect to be facing the wrong way in a bit of a hurry. And, of course, Eau Rouge, flat out, but you've got to be pinpoint accurate. And we can see as well the DRS down the back straight, the Kemmel straight up the hill, can be very, very powerful on this circuit. And there's occasionally, if you're in a close battle with someone, it pays to actually let them have the position so you can get the DRS and take them back up the hill, because it is just so hard to defend against the power of that DRS, if you like, up the hill. So, of course, we've got the drivers in contention. Ice Kid Man, T-Keg and Hercules. They've all tended to qualify towards the front. And then they've been able to capitalise on that into strong results in recent weeks. And those three have really sort of outed themselves as the three to watch in the championship fight at this point. I think we might have a McNaughton back just in time for the start of the line.
A McNugget seems to be dealing with Scottish weather and internet at the moment, which isn't going too well.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the track guide up for everybody now. Spa-Francorchamps looks a little bit like this. It's 7 kilometres long, one of the longest circuits on the calendar, if not the very longest circuit on the calendar. We've got 19 turns. Some of them are more difficult than others, but the whole circuit very, very challenging. And looking forward to seeing how the guys get on in this session.
Indeed. So what have we missed? Have we done? Have we started? Is this just qualifying starting now, Mr.
It is, yes. Qualifying starting now. It's looking a bit cloudy and overcast again. We're expecting a little bit of rain towards the end of the race, and we've got a slightly reduced field this evening, just the 15 runners for this Belgian Grand Prix.
Yes, sadly, no Mahoney for the Mercedes. We are missing. We're missing a Red Bull. Which is
Dukes, yeah, we're missing Dukes.
And we are missing someone else, are we not?
Oktoberhof missing in action this evening.
And a
as
Ferrari?
Well.
Or are we just down a Ferrari?
Nope, we've got both Ferraris there, and both AlphaTauris. Oktoberhof in the Racing Point is missing. And
we're missing a red.
It's the Alfa Romeo. I think it's the Alfa Romeo with Dave Kay, who, of course, relegated down. So we can take a look at the best qualifiers in this Division 5 season. Ice Kid Man, TK, and actually Cookie in qualifying trim. The three to watch here at this, or generally in qualifying. Ice Kid Man generally going to be in the top 3 more often than not in qualifying this season.
Indeed, and that kind of leads us into our weekly prediction schedule. Harringzord, who would your top 3 be for qualification here?
You know what? I'm going to curse Cookie this week.
That's a shame. Poor Cookie. So Cookie number 1 for you, is that it?
That is what I'm going for, yeah. And we're going to see if that's right or wrong. It'll almost certainly be wrong. But the car's just on the route lap at the moment. I think it'll actually be Ice Kid Man to be the first driver to set a time in this session. Yellow flag on Sector 3 is just cars going slowly and trying to make themselves a little bit of space. So we'll see what Ice Kid Man can do. And in terms of outright pace, what are we expecting? Something in the low 42s, maybe even the high 41s if we're lucky.
With Ice Kid Man, TK, you're never sure just how quick these guys can go.
Here is the magnificent Eau Rouge for the first time then. Flat out uphill. And of course, Radion at the top of that as well. And then you go up the Kemmel Straight. And it really is up the Kemmel Straight. It's quite a high level of elevation change as you go up the hill here, which means you can brake really, really late at the end of this one for Lecom. We can see Ice Kid Man going through now. Tricky little section of corners there. It's very easy to either get the first or the second bit wrong and start running wide and compromise your time, but the curbs are quite high and it's all a bit... You've got to be very, very precise.
Yeah, especially going through Lacombe, you've got to watch those curves because it can be a bit of a kiss of death, like the Bahrain corners can be as well. You know, one false move and you're spinning all over the place. Ice Kid Man, though, now out to make a statement. We'll see. Always likes to get out early, Ice Kid Man, and get an early marker down, so we will see how they do.
I think we've got a slow moving Alpha Tauri that I think with Jock James has made a mistake somewhere on the lap and is now just getting out of the way of other drivers. So that lap abandoned for the Alpha Tauri driver, who says for the first time he's not watching the stream while he races, which hopefully will help.
Well, we'll see if it will. See if he can avoid some penalties. Now, just coming through the chicane bus stop, and we'll see how quick Ice Kid Man gets across this line in a 1:43.1.
43.1 is, well, it's quicker than I went. Hercules going a 43.1 as well. Wow, look at that already. Wow. That is super close between the pair. Everybody on the soft tyres here. And there's just 12 thousandths of a second between two of the championship contenders already. Game on.
Indeed, it's going to be good. Now, obviously, a lot of cars will want to get out just in case there is a bit of rain that comes later on. Ice Kid Man taking full advantage of that last week.
TK has invalidated his first run here as Hummersep goes P3, Yana 5 is 4th, and Roy Weller is 5th. Karna a little bit off the pace at this point, but a chance to look at one of the other better qualifiers in the division, Nordy. And it's a tricky one with Nordy. You either get incredible or you get difficult, and there's kind of nothing in between.
We have got Daniel Gilligan out of the session already. I'm not sure if that's... He's in the pit, so it might be a connection issue and he might get back in.
It may well be, yeah. We've got Karna, I think, facing the wrong way coming out of turn 1, which is what the yellow flag's about. Nordy over the line and sets a 43.8, which is the sort of time I did, which I would be inclined to describe as fairly tame.
Indeed. Now, Jock James getting a bit of pull down the Kemmel Straight from his teammate Cookie here. We'll see if it helps him get a fast time going into this run.
Van Bate over the line now for Ferrari, and he goes up into P4. Good lap at this stage of the session from Van Bate, and we can take a look at the aforementioned Jock James on his second attempt.
The nightly cursed Jock James as it would be, no matter how much we feel he's going to make it through a lap into a top points position, he finds a way to steal victory from, well, steal a loss from the jaws of victory, more like.
I think the thing about Spa is that as much as everybody loves Spa, it's a challenge. It's a really difficult circuit. So expect incidents, expect mistakes, and if you can keep it clean, you can end up finishing a lot higher than you might think. He says with a wink. Jock James now coming through the final part of the lap. Blanchimont here is a flat-out left-hander. F1 car doesn't really worry about that. And then the last chicane, the right-left, formerly the bus stop chicane, but unfortunately is no longer a bus stop chicane. It's just a chicane.
Just a chicane. No buses there anymore.
No, and well, it used to be shaped. Oh, Jock James
with a 1:43.128.
Well, maybe watching the stream or not watching the stream is the right idea because Jock James goes quickest.
I will say he did get a nice toll from Cookie along the Kemmel Straight, which may have helped him out a bit. It'll be interesting to see where he got that time, but...
Well, as they say, teamwork makes the dream work, or something to that effect, and Jock James fastest now in this qualifying session. 10 minutes to go, and of course, with it being such a long lap here, you really do have to motor on to try and make sure you can get 3 runs in. Jock James a bit out of sync now, having made a mistake the first time round, but he got it right at the second attempt. What we can do while we've got a little bit of a Oh, I think that's McNaughton's internet gone, unfortunately. So what we can do while we've got a little bit of a dip in the session is just take a look at the number of points scored since round 4 in Baku, which is what I wanted to look at in this division. Now, Ice Kid Man, Hercules, and TK, you can see, have really stamped their position or their authority on this championship. Since Baku, remember Hummersep, the winner in Baku, and at that point, Hummersep was the de facto championship leader, with King Bart and Tory moving elsewhere. But since that race, Hummersep has not scored a single point in this middle third of the season. And Ice Kid Man, Hercules, and TK have very much been the drivers to beat. Nordi has gone well, but last time in Austria had a more difficult time. And of course, the first part of the season was challenging for Nordi as they got used to running 0 assists in that McLaren. So they're on the up, but they're still a little bit behind in terms of the overall championship picture. Speaking of that championship picture, we are looking at TK as he comes through on what will be an attempt to get a time on the board. He invalidated first time around in the Ferrari and just about gets away with it there on the corner with no name. Through Pouon. Want to keep away from that inside curb, but get close to it as you dare. If you touch that curb too much, you'll be facing the wrong way very, very quickly. Through the right-left before you get down to Stavolo in the end of Sector 2. What you see how TK is doing just in comparison to himself. You won't, unfortunately, see how he's doing in comparison to everybody else in the field just yet. Arif, a shout-out, by the way, has gone up into 5th position in the Haas. Arif has really improved his qualifying in this middle third of the season for Haas. Similar to Iana 5, both those drivers are qualifying much better now, and there's so much traffic for TK to negotiate as he completes this lap. Thankfully, all diving out of the way, and TK in the Ferrari comes across the line. It's looking quick, this. It's looking very, very quick. A 42.6 puts him half a second clear of the entire field. What a magnificent lap. We will see what Ice Kid Man can do in response. Hercules on the circuit as well. Just about to begin his own lap, coming across the start-finish line now. Ice Kid Man up through Eau Rouge, and that time from TK really setting the ball rolling. Elliot rating us with a party of 22. Thank you very, very much. And welcome along to FRS Division 5. We're currently in qualifying. TK has just gone fastest by half a second, but it is close elsewhere. Ice Kid Man looking to improve. There's a car ahead of him on the road. That is one of the Hasses, who is well out the way. Arif doing the right thing there. And I mean, that is about as far out of the way as you could possibly get. Ice Kid Man right on the ragged edge here as he comes through towards Pouon in the Williams. He does drop down to 7th gear. Isn't quite brave enough to take that flat. You can take it flat if you get it absolutely spot on. But there was a lift there and there was a drop down to 7th gear. So we will see whether that affects him too negatively in comparison to TK. Just about to come through Stavolo to complete Sector 2. Ice Kid Man is up by 7/10 on his own previous best. And that would be good enough to go back to the top if he can get the final chicane right. It's only the final chicane to go, realistically, because there's not really... These aren't really corners. Blanchimont is flat out. Takes a little bit of curve. That wasn't really an ideal line through there. But it's hard on the brakes at the 100-metre board and into the last right-left of this lap. It's so easy to lose the back end here coming out of the final turn. But Ice Kid Man across the line for a 42.4. And TK's advantage did not last long. Hercules is behind on the circuit, but has invalidated this time around. And I think is slowing down to have a second run at this. Ice Kid Man and TK really setting the standard here once again in Division 5. Meanwhile, we've got, I think, Van on base coming at the pits. One of the Hasses has come and do the final part of the lap. Daft currently on a lap and chance to check in with the hero, really, of the Austrian race last time out, where for the most part of that race, Daft running around sort of nowhere in P15, pitted under the late safety car, and on the soft tyres with a bunch of tyre grip advantage at the end of the race, managed to steal a podium through not collecting any time penalties at all. And it was a result really out of absolutely nowhere. But delighted for Daft. He's only had 2 points finishes this season, but they've been a 5th place and a 3rd place. When he does get it right, he does bring in a big chunk of points. Nordy has gone up to P3 for McLaren, and Daft goes up to P5. This track is improving all the time. Unfortunately, not if you're Roy Weller, who's 2 seconds down on this particular lap. So it's Ice Kid Man from T-Keg and Nordy. Your top 3 with 5 minutes to go. Most of these guys are going to have time for one more run. The surprise at the moment is Cookie, who is a little bit off the pace that you might expect in the AlphaTauri. You have to say now that there is pressure on Hercules going into this final run because his championship rivals, Ice Kid Man and T-Keg, are 1 and 2 on the grid. And the Racing Point at the moment, currently in P6. But as we saw, and I can remind you of that best qualifiers graphic, Ice Kid Man and T-Keg very much the star performers in qualifying. But Hercules very much not that. Cookie taking an interesting line into the pit lane here, trying to keep out of everybody's way. And currently on the circuit, I think Karna is invalidated this lap. Hummerset possibly lining up on an out lap to have a go here, as is Van on base, who's coming across the line now. So we'll take a look at the Ferrari. If you're wondering where Nugget is, he is struggling with his internet connection this evening. It's been very intermittent, so he's kind of dropping in and out as best as he possibly can. I'll run this on my own, hopefully capable hands, up until his impending return, hopefully, all going well. But the internet in Scotland is not having a good time this evening. Big lock up there from Van on base, coming into Bruxelles. And it's just, this whole section of the track, just understeer central. So easy to run wide and get on the power too early and then run over the curb. And Van on base keeping it clean. Of course, we've got a reduced field here, so if you start outside the points, even if you start right towards the back of the grid, there's not too many places to have to make up to be able to get yourself into those lower points places. And on base now coming out of Stavolo. And he hasn't improved on his own personal best. But this looking like he can maybe just improve a couple of positions at best on this particular lap. Arif has gone 3rd. Wow, great lap from Arif in the Haas. Really, really good lap once again. Arif's qualifying is coming on leaps and bounds this season. And the Haas now up to P3. Van on base. Do the awkward chicane. You can see how awkward it is. He loses the back end there. Will that have cost him too much time? Indeed it has. He doesn't improve on this particular lap. Hummersep is up on his own previous best by a couple of tenths, by 2.5 tenths here for the Mercedes driver. And across the line for Hummersep for a 1:42.9, which is P3. Great lap. Was excellent in the final sector there, Hummersep. And gets himself up amongst the front runners again. But everybody seeming to improve every time we come across the line here. Now, the key man to watch is going to be Hercules, who's on an out lap now. He's about to line up. He's got one shot at this. He won't make it for a second run. Here we go, on board with the Racing Point. If you're wondering about the weather for the race, we're expecting it to be dry for the most part, with a hint of rain, the chance of rain, towards the end of the race. So Hercules now down in P8. Really, really needs a lap here. Championship rivals are 1st and 2nd and still have the chance to go even faster with another run in them. They're right next to each other on the track, actually, T-Keg and Ice Kid Man. But Hercules now down the Camel Straight, and we'll see if there's an improvement from the Racing Point. Well, it's only a few hundredths of a second down, but that doesn't really matter. There's only one corner and a straight. It's all about the middle sector in terms of making up your time on this lap. And this looks nice and clean from Hercules. Hugging the inside here through Bruxelles. And oh, a little bit of a moment there as he came out. Again, it's easy to get on the power there, and that will have cost him time. This is going to have to be something mighty to try and get back up the field. Hercules a lift on the curb through Pouon. That's dangerous, but he's keeping it floored through the second part of that corner. We're now into the right-left, and Khan has now retired in the pit lane from this session. Hercules coming through Stavolo, and we'll see what the second sector time is like. It is down on his previous best, and this is not looking good for Hercules, who's now P9. Daniel Gilligan has improved to P3 for Renault. Hercules is down in 9th place and needs a mighty final sector if he's not going to start right in the midfield for this Belgian Grand Prix. Hard on the brakes for the right-left of the final chicane. Keeping it nice and tidy. That looked quick. And across the line, Hercules does not improve. The big headline is that Hercules will start at best P9 in this session. T-Keg looks to abandon this one. He's not going quickly. Ice Kid Man, on the other hand, is. Can Ice Kid Man produce a third pole position in a row? Well, he's down on his previous best here, and that lap will be abandoned as well. Nordy out of the final corner for McLaren. And across the line, it's P2 for Nordy. He's just a 10th shy of Ice Kid Man. Excellent lap. Roy Weller goes 5th fastest, just behind McLaren, coming on leaps and bounds towards the end of the session. Jock James looks to have abandoned. Cookie is coming across the line now and needs something. It doesn't look that quick. It is P13 only for Cookie, and Jock James has definitely abandoned that lap. I think, folks, that's your lot. And Ice Kid Man takes his third pole position, I think, in a row. But it might be of the season. Either way, it's certainly his second pole position in a row. And the championship leader is looking very, very good. But he's only a 10th quicker than Nordy. And a 10th quicker than TK. He'll line up just behind him on the grid. And of course, remember, here in Spa, not necessarily an advantage to be at the front of the grid in this early part of the session. So we will take a moment to just prepare ourselves for the start of this race. And I'm excited for this one. The races so far this season have been generally absolutely excellent. I'm really excited to see how this one plays out as well. Ice Kid Man on pole. T-Keg in third position for Ferrari. And Hercules, of course, really struggled in that session. But we've got the threat of rain. And it will depend how late in the race that rain does turn up. Perhaps it might be better to start this race on the medium tyre. Or even the hard tyre if you can. And just run that as long as you possibly can until the rain arrives. We will have to wait and see what the right strategy is here. If you're at the back, you can perhaps just run on the hard tyres and try to gain up a lot of places. Whether that will be enough to let you challenge for the win, I'm not so sure. But Lo-Fi Hitman is absolutely correct. The commentator's curse applied to Cookie today. And unfortunately for the Cookie Monster, P13 only in this session. So Ice Kid Man on pole once again for Williams. Nordy alongside on the front row. And for Nordy, it's all about, can we have a clean race once again? He's got pace in that McLaren. Can we apply it across 22 laps of this Spa-Francorchamps circuit? T-Keg is third for Ferrari. Dan Gilligan with an impressive fourth place. And Roy Weller in fifth. You can see the top 12 drivers all within a second. And Cookie, it's a bit harsh to exclude him from that at 1 second and 1,000th outside of that 1 second. So it's nice and close around what is quite a long lap. This should be a very, very exciting race. Hummersep 6, and of course Hercules starts this race in P10 once all was said and done. So it's nice and sunny right now, isn't it? But will it stay that way? Because rain is forecast for the end of this Belgian Grand Prix. It's sunny for the time being, Spa. But we will see what occurs over the next 22 laps. Spa has been a track of heavy incident And, of course, Division 5 has been a division of very heavy incidents. So, what do you think might happen? Guys just taking a final moment to get their strategy bang on here ahead of the start of the warm-up lap. And it's Ice Kid Man to lead them away on this single lap of the circuit while they try to get some heat into the tyres. And if Ice Kid Man can do what he did in Austria, get to the front and lead from the front, then he's on course to be lapping, really, in the championship. This is how everything looks in Division 5. With 5 races to go, the drive for Division 5 looks like this. Ice Kid Man leads the way with 90 points. He's got 2 wins and 3 podiums. He is probably, on paper, the quickest driver in the division, but has a couple of DNFs to his name. Hercules is third, T-Keg is second. But T-Keg actually only has 1 podium to his name this season. Hercules with more wins and more podiums across the course of the whole season. T-Keg has very much been the master of finishing 4th this season. And there has been a collision between Homosep and Arith on that formation lap, meaning both of them will start this race on cold tyres, which is less than ideal for them. Of course, Arith and Homosep collided in Austria on the first lap, didn't they? So colliding before the first lap is, I guess, preferable to colliding on the first lap. But in an ideal world, we wouldn't collide at all. But you know what? Sometimes you can't have everything in life. Here's the drivers to look out for on lap 1. Evil Steel, normally the big winner on lap 1. Of course, that's tempered by the fact that he tends to start at the back of the grid. But he's gained in total 37 positions on lap 1 of the races here in Division 5. Jock James and Daft, fast starters as well. Both of those guys lining up next to each other on the grid. And Hercules, the Racing Points. Oktoberfok not here today, of course. But watch out for Hercules. At the very least, Hercules is good at making up positions in that Racing Point, because he's going to need to today. Hercules down in P10. So Ice Kid Man has won the last 2 races in Bahrain and in Austria. Can the Williams driver make it a hat trick to end the second part of this FRS Division 5 season? Cars lining up on the grid now, ready for 22 laps of this Spa-Francorchamps circuit. We're expecting it to be lively, we're expecting it to be boisterous. It's Division 5, and we are about ready to go. It's lights out and away we go here in Belgium, and there's a bit of tyre squealing from those in the midfield. Ice Kid Man looks to have the advantage, but of course we have to go all the way up the hill to the top of the Camel Straight, and there's a bit of an incident in the midfield there. Homosep had a bit of a moment, but Ice Kid Man has a very comfortable lead. T-Keg alongside Nordy as they go down towards Eau Rouge. Contact between the pair and Nordy, and T-Keg are out of this race at Eau Rouge. It's a disaster for T-Keg. They came together. Nordy has lost his front wing. It's a virtual safety car. And that is it's a disaster for T-Keg. Retires from this race at lap 1. And for Ice Kid Man, I mean, you couldn't ask for a better scenario, could you? He leads this race. One of his championship rivals is in P10, and the other one is in the wall at Eau Rouge on lap 1. A disastrous start for T-Keg, who is out of this race. A huge moment in this Division 5 season. Gilligan up to P2. Roy Weller now in 3rd place as we're in a virtual safety car here. Homosep and Daft have improved off the line as well. You can just see the position change here. Daft again up 4 places on the first lap with an expert starter in the Haas. Nordy all the way to the back. In terms of tyres for this one, we've got Yana 5, Evil Steel and Cookie on the medium tyres. Everybody else on the soft, but Nordy will of course need to pit. We are green again here in Belgium, and Hercules already gaining ground, getting past Van on base on the restart. There is work to do for the Racing Point because Ice Kid Man leads the Belgian Grand Prix. Hummersep having a lock at the back of Roy Weller, not making the move now into the chicane. Very close to the back. Bit of a moment there coming out the final corner, but this is just a dream scenario for the leader. Ice Kid Man a second and a half clear of Dan Gilligan, who is up into second place, but does have work to do to catch what we generally think is the fastest driver in this field. 3 wide into turn 1. Van on base on the inside. Evil Steel and Hercules involved in this as well, and this is the last thing Hercules needs as they go down the hill alongside Evil Steel as they go through Eau Rouge. They're side by side and there's contact. Evil Steel is around and into the wall. Hercules is out. Hercules is out of the race. And we've got another virtual safety car. And, well, did Ice Kid Man write the script today or what? Hercules, Iana 5 and TK all out of this race. And we're not even through lap 2. What is going on? Nordy and Cookie have both pitted at the back. We're still under virtual safety car conditions here. Division 5, well, it never fails. It never fails to bring the drama, does it? And we've only got 12 runners left. The chances of points are so high, but I mean, if Ice Kid Man wins this race, how good is that going to be for his championship challenge? And Dan Gilligan in second place has disconnected. We're green again. It's Ice Kid Man against Dan Gilligan. Say hi. As they come through Blanchimont, Ice Kid Man leads. I don't know whether the AI will attempt an overtake here. It doesn't. Dan Gilligan sits behind. It is ghosted, of course. It might not even need to throw one down the inside. It can just drive straight through the Williams. But looks to be that Ice Kid Man is building up a gap. We have 12 runners left. Kana in P9. Evil Steel in P10 at the moment. And we've got a fight up ahead between Hummersep and Roy Weller. Dan Gilligan has now rejoined the session and sets about chasing Ice Kid Man. In fact, they're pretty close up at the front. Hummersep in the slipstream of Roy Weller. Of course, there was no full safety car, so there will be DRS here. Hummersep moving to the outside to go up the Camel Straight. Roy Weller on the inside, and Hummersep looking to make the move. Pulls out of that one, thinks better of it. Roy Weller holds on, but does run wide. Will probably pick up a track limits warning for that. And Hummersep now going to the inside as they move towards Bruxelles. And Hummersep gets the move done. He's on the inside, runs Roy Weller wide. And Hummersep up into third place in this Belgian Grand Prix. Much better start to this one for the Mercedes. Mahoney, of course, his teammate, not here today. But Hummersep now running third in this Belgian Grand Prix. There's already a huge gap developing between Hummersep and the top two, Ice Kid Man and Dan Gilligan. Of course, the problem for Dan Gilligan is, can his connection hang on for this whole race? 3-second time penalty for Evil Steel, who has dropped all the way back, of course, thanks to that incident. He had to pit for fresh rubber, but these three cars at the back, Evil Steel, Nordy, and Cookie, do actually have a point to fight over. Because all of this is for P10. We've had 3 retirements already. And can I do it? Can I talk about Kana running P9 with about 30 seconds to the car behind? I shouldn't do it. I really shouldn't do it, but I've done it now. Dan Gilligan outside of DRS range on Ice Kid Man as they come down the hill towards Eau Rouge. This is only lap 4 out of 22. There is a long way to go in this race. And both Hercules and TK, the championship contenders, out of this race. And Ice Kid Man leads for Williams. Roy Weller within a second of Hummersep. DRS is open, but not able to make the move on this lap. We've got Van on base right up behind Jock James, but nothing happening there. Look at the Hasses now in 5th and 6th. That, once again, coming up good when there's chaos in the race. There's something about Haas drivers and doing that. But yeah, Kana with a 36-second gap now. Back to Evil Steel. Kana, now the only driver in the division not to have scored points this season. But the top 8 all running fairly close together. It's a bit of a gap between Arif and Jock James. But all of these guys on the soft tyres, and all of them will be running very similar strategies here. Man on base right on the back of the AlphaTauri. And really applying the pressure now as they come through the second part of the lap into Stavolo. And Jock James, it looks like, maybe just struggling at this phase of the race. Van on base all over the back of him. And possibly close enough to be able to make a move into the chicane at the end of this lap. We'll stick with this fight. Van on base. Does he go to the inside? Nope. He's going to sit behind him for now and try to do this with DRS up the hill. Hummersep sets the fastest lap. Quickly beaten by Roy Weller in the McLaren just behind him. But Roy Weller just outside DRS. In fact, Hummersep has moved into DRS range of Dan Gilligan, who's beginning to drop back from Ice Kid Man. If you're wondering where McNaughton is, his internet is having a bad time. So I'm going this alone at the moment. And I mean, dear me, the Division 5 boys never make it easy to do that. Man on base, he's going to have the DRS. He's going to have his overtake button as he goes up the hill. And this is an opportunity to see the overspeed that you can get with that DRS down the back straight. He's not really as close as he might have been, the Ferrari driver. Jock James running wide though, a little bit too late on the brakes as they go into Le Con. And this fight will continue just up the road. Arif just behind his teammate Daft, but just running a little wide there, and Arif having a moment and just holding on to the back of that. In the Haas, we almost give him the literal commentator's curse by moving over to him there, but Arif just about getting away with that one. There's a fight developing here between Dan Gilligan, Hummersep and Roy Weller over second position. The McLaren, you can just see in the background, running a bit wide. These soft tyres should go... It should be around... I think the window for the pit stops for the soft tyre runners will be about laps 7 to 9. Oh, Hummersep spins and Hummersep is out of the Belgian Grand Prix. Safety car deployed. And now it's decision time on the pit. I think you've got to go. I think you have to go. Ice Kid Man pits. Dan Gilligan behind him pits into the wall. Did he lose some wing there? Roy Weller pits. They all have to pit. You can't afford to not pit here, but the Hasses are going to have a problem. Because the Hasses are going to have to double stack. Arif stays out. Might it have been better to just take the penalty of the double stack? I'm not so sure that that was the right call. Ice Kid Man goes to the hard tyres. Dan Gilligan goes to the hard tyres. Mediums can go a long way. Roy Weller in the McLaren does go to the mediums and does come out ahead of Dan Gilligan, who I think actually took some front wing damage on the way into the pit lane. So gives up P2. Hummersep is now out of this race. But Ice Kid Man has gone to the hard tyres and Roy Weller has gone to the mediums. So that might give Roy Weller the advantage here when this race gets back underway. But Arif is surely going to have to pit at the end of this lap under the safety car, because you don't want to do it at full racing speed. If you were here for high drama, we have delivered once more. But you didn't doubt us in that regard, did you? Here in FRS Division 5. Both the championship contenders who aren't Ice Kid Man, TK and Hercules, out of this race. And remember, this was the situation in the drive for Division 5. And Ice Kid Man was already 12 points clear of TK, and if he's able to win this race, let's take the fastest lap out of this, and just look at the 25 points for winning this race. He'd move to 115 points, and that is a huge lead. He would have a 37-point advantage, which is obviously more than a race win with just 4 races to go. But as we say, Ice Kid Man has gone to the hard tyres. Those who've gone to the hard tyres, they will go to the end of the race. But generally speaking, you can pit on around lap 8 for the medium tyres. And they will go to the end of the race from lap 8. And of course, we're behind the safety car for a little while yet. So, was the hard tyre the right choice? The mediums will last forever around Spa. So it might actually be that Roy Weller and Jock James have played a blinder here by going to the medium tyre while we're behind the safety car. Dan Gilligan with another internet disconnect, and Arif does pit for Haas. We'll see what tyres he go for. I think the mediums are the best way to go, and Arif does go to the medium tyre. So he will drop all the way. He might beat Evil Steel. But this is better than pitting when the race was at full racing speed. It was an unfortunate scenario for Arif with the team having to maybe double stack and Arif coming out behind Evil Steel. That was unfortunate. He was a little slow coming out the pit lane, wasn't he? And Evil Steel going through. So Ice Kid Man resumes the lead, but Roy Weller is going to be all over the back of that Williams in these first couple of laps. Of course, there's no DRS for the first 2 laps behind the safety car. But that is really unfortunate for Arif. It wasn't his fault. But he had the choice between double stacking and taking a huge time penalty for doing that, sat in the pit lane, or going an extra lap and coming into the pits that way. In hindsight, the double stack was probably the better option, just because there was 3 cars really far behind the field who've now caught up. And Arif is now right at the back of the pack. But he is on the medium tyre and can look to go on the attack when we get underway here. The only time penalty at the moment is for Evil Steel. Roy Weller currently holds the fastest lap of the race. And I mean, I'm looking at the drivers who've gained. Daft is up 5 places, Van on Base up 6, Karner up 7, but of course 4 of the guys, 3 of the ones who certainly started in the top 10, already out of this race. And that incident between Nordy and T-Keg on lap 1. The safety car does help out Nordy, Cookie and Evil Steel, brings them back into play here. But what a dramatic race we've had. Daft, of course, when the going gets tough, the Daft gets going. And he's appeared in P4 once more. But look out for Roy Weller and look out for Jock James on this restart, because on the medium tyres, those two should be particularly racy. Safety car in this lap. We will go green again here in Belgium. Ice Kid Man has led 56 laps. Plus, God, can you believe it's only lap 7? Well, he's led another 7, bar that one that Arif led. And nobody else on that list will be adding any more to their total. But the question is, can Ice Kid Man lead the rest of this race? He's got the jump. He's got a massive jump on Roy Weller. Roy Weller was not expecting that at all. And there's a huge gap between the Williams and the McLaren as they come across the start-finish line. Dan Gilligan is slow out of the final corner. Jock James here on the attack. They're 3 wide perhaps as they go into turn 1. We've got Daft and the Haas looking down the inside. Jock James on the outside. Jock James all the way around the outside, but he's gone too wide and he's off the circuit. Rejoining now in the AlphaTauri. They're going to be side by side as they go into Eau Rouge. Oh no, we don't want to see this. We've seen what's happened before. They keep it clean. Just about. Daft hanging on a bit, and Jock James with the 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. But Ice Kid Man has got the jump on the restart and he's 1.4 seconds clear. Nordy is coming past Karner as they go down the back straight. And it's Ice Kid Man from Weller, from Gilligan. Daft hanging on to P4 and Jock James the first to pick up a time penalty since the safety car restart. So, these medium tyre runners, how quick will they be at this phase of the race? Well, you can see Jock James all over the back of Daft. They go around the outside and through as they go through the left-hander and now down towards Pouon down the hill. Jock James will have the superior grip, superior traction at this stage of the race. Daft running wide there, and that allows Van on Base and the Ferrari up behind him. Van on Base looking to the outside as they go round. He goes all the way around the outside, Van on Base, and he makes the move stick. What a move from Van on Base. And Daft is down to P6. He's now got Nordy to contend with as well. The McLaren coming through quickly. Oh no, in the wall, Nordy's out! Another incident at the second part of Stavolo. And Nordy is out of the race. Safety car deployed. What is going on with anyone who might be a championship contender? What's happening here? Safety car deployed. Now, if you're on the hard tire and you're towards the back, do you pit for a set of mediums here? Evil Steel is doing just that. If you finish, you will score a point. This has just been a remarkable race, and I don't think we expect anything like... He's going for the soft tyres, Evil Steel. Now, hear me out here, but that's ambitious. Well, okay. This is the 4th safety car. We've had 2 virtual safety cars and 2 full safety cars, and it's lap 9 of this race. So, the soft tyres generally we think can go for about 8 or 9 laps. So, from Evil Steel's perspective, actually, when this safety car ends, maybe at the end of lap 10, perhaps, if we're lucky, he'll have to do 12 laps on the soft tyres with a lighter fuel load. They're fresh softs as well. It might be doable. It might be doable. I don't think the game can actually... I think the limit on safety cars is 4. So if anybody else fancies a trip into the wall at the exit of Stavolo, I don't think we can do another safety car. I think this is it. We've got 10 remaining runners here in FRS Division 5. Take a moment, catch your breath. We've got more than half of this race to go. Oh, the limit is 5 combined safety cars. Well, we can go again. Oh, a spin! Dan Gilligan has spun behind the safety car and rejoins. Oh no, that's wing damage for Dan Gilligan. He's ghosted. I don't know if that was Dan Gilligan's AI. I don't know whether he was disconnected and rejoined and spun, but he spun behind the safety car. Well, I guess at this point, if you're going to have to pit to change the wings, so you might as well get off the hard tyres. I mean, this race is so hard to call. Jock James is now 3rd and on the medium tyre. And the medium tyre is the one to be on now, definitely. Because we've got another safety car, which lets those tyres go even further into this race. And those on the mediums are definitely making the right call. You only get points if you finish. Well, just finish. Just get to the end. Just finish. And you get a point. Minimum. Dan Gilligan does pit. Dan Gilligan goes to the medium tyre. And gets a new front wing. I'm taking a moment to catch my breath. There may have been more pit stops in this race than there have been in the entirety of FRS combined across the weekend. I've done nothing but look at cars behind the safety car and in the pit lane. But if you're Ice Kid Man, it couldn't be better. All of his championship rivals are out, and I mean literally every single one of his championship rivals have retired from this race. And he's in the lead. If he was on the medium tyre, this would be perfect. But as it is, he's not on the medium tyre, and that means that he could be vulnerable to Roy Weller and Jock James behind. But I mean, if you're honest, even a P3 for Ice Kid Man here, just bank the points. Just take the P3, bank another 15 points, and you would build up a big cushion. If he finishes on the podium, he will have more than a race win in terms of his championship lead. That's guaranteed. Is he a kid or a man? No one knows. Exactly right. Well, he's the leader. We know that for sure. He's won the last 2 races, of course, as Ice Kid Man. He's looking to make it the hat-trick here, and dearie me, everybody else seems to be trying to hand it to him on a plate. Courtesy of the wall here at the exit of Stavolo. The safety car is in this lap. Now, Roy Weller having totally been caught out by the safety car restart last time, has an opportunity to make amends now because he'll be wise to Ice Kid Man's tricks. So when will the Williams go? Will he go before the final chicane again? They're all very keen to get on with it. Ice Kid Man went here last time. He hasn't gone here this time. He's going to save this. He's continuing to weave. That's just to show that he hasn't gone yet. They're into the final corner. And he's going to floor it now. You can see he's on the power. Roy Weller is losing out again. He was a bit too slow coming out the final corner. And there's a bit of a moment in the background there for Cookie, who's up at the 6th place. But Ice Kid Man leads again as we restart this Belgian Grand Prix. Karna and Arif are side by side into turn 1. And the Haas trying to go around the outside on those fresher tyres. And we'll come down the hill towards Eau Rouge. And we're going to be... Arif's got that move done. But Evil Steel on the soft tyres now getting involved. Evil Steel going to the inside against Karna. This is brave. And they've kept it clean. Dan Gilligan's through as well. How on earth nobody ended up in the wall there? I have absolutely no idea at all. But Evil Steel on the soft tyres is going to have a lot of pace at this stage of the race. Jock James is up into 2nd place. We missed it. Looking at the fight at the back, but Jock James is through on Roy Weller. But he's 2.2 seconds behind Ice Kid Man, who was looking to just check out here. And of course, Jock James, with the track limits penalty as well, Van on Base very quietly, I said this a lot about Van on Base, but he's very quietly gone about going up into 4th place. And Dan Gilligan fighting Evil Steel as they go through Pouon side by side. I mean, it's easier from my perspective that we've barely got any cars to look at, but a 2.5 second gap for Ice Kid Man up at the front. He has absolutely blitzed this restart. Cookie right up behind Van on Base now. You can see just up the road that Roy Weller is right up behind Jock James as well. As they come through Blanchimont. The McLaren will possibly take a look to the inside as they come into the final corner. 3-second lead on this first lap of the restart for Ice Kid Man. He has blitzed this first lap. Absolutely blitzed it. And Roy Weller setting himself up. There's no DRS for the first 2 laps after the safety car restart, of course. Dan Gilligan has now passed a reef in the background as well. And is up into 7th position on the medium tyres, those fresh mediums. Evil Steel and Arif side by side now. Evil Steel seems to have been side by side with everyone coming through Eau Rouge, but Evil Steel's got the move done this time. And we go on board with Roy Weller up behind Jock James. He doesn't have the DRS, and that's costing him here. He cannot get the overspeed as they come down towards Les Combes. The fight towards the back half of the field, which is now 6th place and downwards, is very, very close. And remember, we are expecting rain later in the race. And of course, all of the time spent behind the safety car means that it's going to go on longer, the race. And we are more likely to see the rain. Just grab yourself another beer and get prepared. Jock James has pegged the gap up at the front, about 2.8 seconds. But of course, is carrying the 3-second time penalty. Dan Gilligan does seem to have a few connection issues there. His car is teleporting around, which is never what you want to see. And we're 2x2 as we come through towards Blanchimont again. Roy Weller behind Jock James, Cookie behind Van on Base, and Dan Gilligan right up behind Daft now. As they come down towards the chicane, the Renault going to the outside. You can see the clouds. It's getting much darker, and Daft was so early on the brakes there. Daft is clearly looking to not get into a fight here. Keep it clean and just get to the finish line. He's got the Red Bull of Evil Steel now right behind him as they go down towards turn 1. Evil Steel wants to save it to go up the hill. Through Eau Rouge once again. Roy Weller right behind Jock James. And he's surely now going to get this move done. DRS will be wide open for the McLaren. And you can see the overspeed. Jock James is to the inside. Jock James goes to the outside. Roy Weller follows him. He could have maybe gone down the inside there. but gets out of it at the last possible moment. Evil Steel didn't manage to get the run on Daft. And the clouds begin to come in here at Spa. We are expecting rain in this race, and we've already seen absolute bedlam. But lovely defence from Jock James. The fight continues for second place. Oh, Roy Weller's spun. Roy Weller's in the wall for McLaren. And an incident there, Roy Weller's lost the back end of the car. And he's taken wing damage, has he? No, he's got away with it actually against the wall. So Roy Weller can continue. But he drops down into 6th position. And that releases Dan Gilligan, Cookie, and Van Beige now in a podium place for Ferrari. Ferrari driver yet to finish on the podium. His previous best is 4th. He has scored points in all 7 races this season, but is yet to stand on the podium. Here's Van Beige, but currently P3, and Roy Weller, just to compound the misery of this lap, picking up a 3-second time penalty for track limits. So Ice Kid Man now has what is a de facto 7-second lead. Yellow flag in sector 1. Ice Kid Man is out! Oh no, Ice Kid Man is out of the race! He's lost it at the top of Eau Rouge! What drama! Can you believe it? And Jock James leads the Belgian Grand Prix. He had it in the bag. And we've got 9 runners remaining. Of course, not making it to the finish means that Ice Kid Man won't score points. I can't believe it. I cannot believe the drama of this race. This is unbelievable. And Jock James leads, but of course has the time penalty. Van Beige will sense an opportunity to win this race. Alpha Tauri are running 1 and 3. My throat might not make it to the end of this race. I didn't see the incident. But Ice Kid Man has lost the car through Eau Rouge and has put it into the barriers. And it's out of the Belgian Grand Prix. And let's face it, this is now anybody's race to win. 9 left standing here in Division 5. And Van Beige sensing an opportunity and closing the gap to Jock James at the front. I don't have replays, Tim. I don't have them. If only I did. The maximum amount of time penalties you can get, 30 seconds. And then you would be disqualified from the race. So it's quite lenient. Arif is right up behind Evil Steel as they go into turn 1. Oh, and round at the back is Karner. And Karner into the wall. But again, Karner just has to make it to the end and we'll score points. Just make it to the end. There's significant front wing damage on that Renault. So for Karner now, this is just going to be a case of recovery to the pits. Get to the end of this race and score your first points of the season. Arif has passed Evil Steel, going up towards Lecom. And Haas are 6th and 7th once again. And it's all closing up at the front. Jock James, Van Beige, Cookie, Dan Gilligan. And I mean, Roy Weller will be kicking himself right now. He'd have been net first place, but got it all wrong on the lap before Ice Kid Man's incident. Evil Steel, of course, oh, with a moment there, power slide through Puon, but very good save. Hang on to it there really well. Arif right up behind his teammate. But those soft tyres have to go a long way. And it is all to play for in this session. My God, what a race so far. All of the championship contenders are out. Ice Kid Man, championship leader, out. Nordy, potential championship contender, out. Hummersep, previously a championship contender, out. Hercules, championship contender, out. T-Keg, championship contender, out. And I should mention that Iona 5 is out of the race as well, but was not a championship contender. It is really all to play for, and Dan Gilligan is beginning to motor now. Fastest lap of the race on the medium tyres and a A half look to the inside of Cookie there. Thought better of it. But the Renault looking very, very racy indeed. And is going to think better than making the move through Eau Rouge, surely. I do not like that at all. That was so brave, and he's lost the car. And Dan Gilligan is out of the Belgian Grand Prix. Safety car deployed. And the rain comes down. Look, you can see it's raining. We have 8 drivers remaining, and Evil Steel is pitted for the intermediate tyres straight away. It is raining. If you thought it couldn't get any more dramatic, what is this race? Why are they all going too wide through Eau Rouge? Did they not see literally every other retirement in this race? But is it the time? I mean, do you go to Inters under the safety car? Is it too early for Inters? The track's still kind of dry. But the safety car's out, so you can gain so much time by pitting for intermediate tyres, but is the track wet enough for intermediate tyres? Is anybody left on the track? It's hard to say. We've got actually one more retirement, and we'll have more retirements than starters. And it's intermediate, so do not bet against another retirement. We are now at the limit of safety cars in this race. It's lap 16. It's about to be lap 17. We're going to have what? Probably about a 5-lap shootout to the line. In wet weather conditions. Just bring it. Just bring it. Bring it on. Brilliant. The thing I would say is for Cookie, for example, you really want to get off 13-lap old hard tyres. Jock James pits. Van Orbais pits. Cookie pits and goes into the wall. That might be wing damage for Cookie. They're going to double stack at AlphaTauri. Arif doesn't pit. Arif takes the lead of the race. Everybody else pits. And it is for intermediate tyres. They're double stacking at AlphaTauri. Intermediates for everyone. They're going for this now. What? I cannot explain what happened here. Basically, if you're a championship contender, you hit a wall at some point. And it's now raining, and the safety car's out. Everybody keeps trying to go too wide through Eau Rouge, and it doesn't work. And Arif leads on the medium tyres. Daft pitted for soft tyres. So Daft is banking on the rain easing up. And if the rain does ease up, Hats are going to get a 1-2 here. I mean, it's the ultimate gamble from the Haas boys. They are on for a guaranteed 1-2 if it stops raining. Ice Kid Man led this race with all of his championship contenders out, had a 3-second lead with the car in second place having an additional 3-second time penalty, lost the car in Eau Rouge and stuck it in the wall. And now we have the situation where it's beginning to rain. Every car except the Haas cars have gone to the intermediate tyre. The safety car is out. Arif leads on 9-lap old mediums. There will be a point soon where we're at the crossover point. And it is hard to say whether anybody will make it to the end of this race. Do not go anywhere. Do not go anywhere. This is brilliant. This is just brilliant entertainment. The safety car is staying out another lap by the looks of things. How wet is it? There's no spray coming off the back of the cars yet, which tells me that it's still dry tyres you want to be on. Maybe get yourself in the pause menu and stick full traction control on. It is full on Drive to Survive, Division 5 to survive, once again. Now, what are Haas going to do? Remember, if you pit, you'll probably come out P7. It's not even that bad. Arif stays out. We'll see what Daft chooses to do. Daft stays out as well. Haas going with the full gamble here. Oh, Arif's lost the car! No! Oh no, there's a collision! There's a collision behind the safety car. Arif lost the back of the car in the wet conditions. And Roy Weller ran into him. And Haas have got this wrong because Daft is off the track now. Haas have got this wrong because Daft is losing the back of the car. This is absolutely nuts. And Arif has crashed at the worst possible point, just past the pit lane entry. And Haas have got this all wrong. It's too wet for the dry tyres. Jock James leads again, but has a 3-second time penalty. We'll take a look at the penalties. We might as well. 8 seconds of penalties for Roy Weller now because of that collision with Arif under safety car conditions. It'll go with the stewards as to whether Roy Weller gets that removed. But obviously the Haas was spinning across the circuit at the point of impact on the wrong tyres. Evil Steel is 4th and on the intermediate tyres. Van Base is 2nd. Remember, just being in this race now gives you a chance of a podium because God knows what the stewards are going to do at the end of this. It is definitely intermediate tyre conditions now. You can see the Haas guys at the back. They're going to have to pit. And if the safety car comes in this lap, they're essentially screwed. When the Haas boys pit, this is basically going to be a 5-car race. And Van Base and Cookie are the only ones without any penalties to serve. I've not seen a sign that says the safety car's coming in this lap. Maybe we'll go round again. I wonder if it's because Karna hasn't caught up. Oh, the green light's on the safety car. Nope, the green light's gone out again. Oh, I think the green light there means that the car was too far back. Jock James was too far back. So the safety car stays out another lap, which means that at the end of lap 19, assuming it comes in at the end of the next lap, Haas have to pit now. Haas are going to pit, and they're going to double stack. The gamble did not work. Roy Weller pits for a new wing. And here comes Karna. Here comes Karna up into 5th place now. Without a front wing. No front wing on that Renault. But doesn't pit. Maybe rampant understeer is good in these conditions. It's hard to say. Daft has gone to the intermediate tyre. Arif serving a penalty in the pits for the collision. Roy Weller comes out ahead of the second Haas. But they come out in pretty good point scoring positions, it must be said. So, we will try and work it all out again. Jock James now has 6 seconds of time penalties. So you would argue he's going to need 3 laps of his life to be able to win this. Van Base is 2nd. Evil Steel, who has scored 1 point all season, is 3rd. Cookie is 4th. And then Karna's 5th with no front wing on his car. Well, half a front wing on his car, I'll be fair. I mean, this is bedlam. Even by Division 5 standards, which has been bedlam all season, this is bedlam. Hopefully, the safety car will come in this lap. Maybe the FIA are deciding that these guys just need to drive around behind the safety car for the rest of this race so that nothing silly happens. And I mean, Van Base would love that because he would win this race. Safety car, though, is in this lap. It will be 3 laps to the line. The car in 5th place has half a front wing. They're all bunching up very, very dramatically here. Very, very dramatically. Jock James leads the pack. Look at the conditions now. Let's face it, Haas would have got that wrong. But it was possibly worth the gamble. Had it have stopped raining, they would have got a 1-2 from this race. And let's face it, they're still on for good points here. I mean, what could possibly happen next? Haas in a good position on the basis of no penalties to serve. Jock James is crawling around the end of this lap. And he looks to have gone now. Yep, we're racing again now. Jock James from Van on base, from Evil Steel, from Cookie as we come out onto lap 20. For the first time in Division 5 in wet conditions, we are green. And Karner has dropped to the back. Karner is clearly just driving round to pick up some points. Jock James is wide and off the circuit at turn 1. And did Van on base run at the back of him? Evil Steel coming through the middle. Evil Steel leads. Evil Steel leads for Red Bull. Van on base up into second place, but has gone wide and across. Has cut the corner at Radion. In the background, Cookie and Arif is now P4 and P5. Roy Weller has lost time coming out of turn 1. Jock James and Van on base fighting back against Evil Steel. Remember, Evil Steel has penalties to serve as well. Van on base is definitely in the prime position here. Jock James needs to let Cookie go because Cookie has a chance to win this race. He needs to let his teammate go. With the 6 seconds of time penalties, Jock James absolutely should let his teammate go here. But Evil Steel leads this for Red Bull. And if he can get 3 seconds on Van on base, this is going to be the most unlikely winner we could possibly have imagined. He started P14. He's scored 1 point all season. This is the driver with the most penalty points of anybody in any division. And he is driving away at the front. He may have it taken away from him, of course. Because there'll inevitably be stewards' investigations into this race. But Evil Steel leads the Belgian Grand Prix from Van on base, who just has to stay within 3 seconds. And the AlphaTauris, Cookie gets it wrong. Arif is looking menacing behind now. Jock James didn't let Cookie go. That might be a mistake, but I mean, Jock James is really struggling. He's got 6 seconds of penalties that he has to deal with. Van on base, right up behind Evil Steel now for the lead. Not making the move at the final chicane. Oh, and Jock James is out! Oh no! Oh no, oh no. Jock James retires from the race. He's lost a car out of Blanchimont. And Jock James retires. And then we now actually have more retirements than we have runners in the race. Evil Steel from Van on base, Cookie, Arif, Roy Weller, Daft and Karner. That's literally it. I don't know why Karner didn't pick for a new wing. There's a chance for some good points. I mean, Karner's going to get some good points, provided he gets to the end. But up at the front, Van on base, continuing to stay within that second. We've got 2 laps to go of this Belgian Grand Prix, which there are 7 remaining runners. And one of them is driving around at the back with half a front wing. Evil Steel has gone wide there. Gets it back in. Through Bruxelles. Cookie is now right up in this race. Cookie in the AlphaTauri. Looking menacing. Of course, he will finish P2 if he can stay within 3 seconds of Evil Steel, who has 3 seconds of time penalties that he has to serve. Evil Steel is wide. And Evil Steel gets a bit of a slide on, but it's okay. He hangs onto the car. It allows Van on base, but Van on base will be treating that Red Bull. Off the track is Roy Weller. Well, the car is in one piece, which means that he will at least finish in 6th place, Roy Weller. But Van on base won't want to go anywhere near that Red Bull. He won't want to risk an instant. No, and Van on base loses the back of the car there. Cookie will be right up behind now. That gives Evil Steel the chance to break clear. And you can see a twitch again from Van on base. They went through Blanchimont. We've got 1 lap to go. They're coming through the final chicane now. It's between these 3 to win the Belgian Grand Prix because there's basically nobody else left. Haas are settling for an incredible 4th and 5th. And the thing is, even if you pick up penalties, you're still going to get a great haul of points here. The stewards' penalties barely even matter at this point. Here comes Cookie. This is net for the race win between these 2. And Cookie right up behind Van on base. Van on base was better through Eau Rouge there. It's 1.4 up to Evil Steel at the front. Half a second between Van on base and Cookie as we come through Lecombe for the final time. One wrong step for either of these two and the other one will win. Unless they both make a wrong step, in which case Evil Steel might win. And that gap is edging up towards 2 seconds at the front. Evil Steel is putting the hammer down here, and Van on Base possibly playing this a little too cautiously. It's now back to 1.5 seconds, but Cookie can smell a chance for a race victory here, and is much quicker through Puon. He's much quicker through Puon. Has got so much more confidence to there, but oh, that was a big moment. And that might give Van on Base the chance to win for Ferrari. We've got Stavolo to go. We've got Blanchimont to go, and that's not even safe. And then we've got the chicane to go, and that's it. Evil Steel 1.6 seconds ahead. That won't be enough. Van on Base has not finished on the podium yet this season. But the Ferrari coming around now. It has been Division 5 to survive today. And only, oh, big moment there. Big moment for Van on Base, and Cookie is right up in the mix. Van on Base defends to the inside. Evil Steel will cross the line first. But it's not going to be a victory. Look at this. Now Cookie's got his tank slapper on. Van on Base wins the Belgian Grand Prix. Cookie finishes second, and Evil Steel is on the podium for now. Arif is fourth for Haas. Daft is fifth for Haas. Once again, Daft keeping it clean when it all got messy. And Roy Weller finishes sixth for McLaren. And Carner is going to do it. Please do it. The only driver in Division 5 not to have scored points this season comes out of the final chicane so very slowly and finishes 7th. Congratulations, Carner. 6 points in the bag. But it's a win for Van on Base for Ferrari. And I don't even know where to start. Van on Base the winner. From Cookie and from Evil Steel. I mean, if the stewards are lenient and Evil Steel doesn't pick up any penalties for the Eau Rouge incidents, it will be the most unlikely podium for Evil Steel today. Kept it on the road until the end, where faster drivers didn't manage to do so. Carner scores points, but Van on Base wins the Belgian Grand Prix for Ferrari from Cookie. Look at that. Grid 12th, 13th and 14th finished 1, 2 and 3. Who needs qualifying? Arif finished 4th, Daft finished 5th, Roy Weller finishes 6th, and Carner finishes 7th, and that rundown did not take long at all. Jock James, retiring with 3 laps to go, may well be considered classified to finish in 8th position, and then literally everybody else retired from this race. My goodness, my throat is sore. It's a good job we've got a break week next, eh? God, just the level of drama all the way through that one. How do we even begin to recap? Ice Kid Man led the race and was in control. T-Keg out on lap 1. Hercules out on lap 2. Hummersep out. Nordy out. Ice Kid Man in the lead by 3 seconds. And Jock James in second place had a 3-second penalty to boot. And he drops it at the top of the hill at Eau Rouge. And it just became anyone's game from there. Then the rain arrived. And I mean, my God. That was absolutely just stunning. What is it with this division? When we get to season 4, I'm putting in a petition to not split this lot up. I don't care. Just keep this band together. It has just been the most fun on a Sunday night. guys, thank you so much for sticking with that. Obviously, we lost McNugget this evening with broken Scottish internet. So we're sorry to not have him with us tonight. But hopefully I managed to cover as much of that as I possibly could. The shame was that I missed Ice Kid Man's moment where he dropped it into the wall. But I think we got everything else. And to be fair, it gets easier as you go when there's only 7 cars on the track. Oh, right. I am going to go and leave it there. And, as promised, I am going to go and get a beer because Karna scored points today. Congratulations to Karna for his first points of the season. Congratulations to Cookie and Evil Steel, or it might even be a Reef. But of course, a Reef might get penalties, so it might be another podium for Daft. 2 in a row for the Haas driver. But most of all, congratulations to today's winner, Van on Base for Ferrari. It's a week off next time. We will be back in 2 weeks' time in Japan, and we will see you there.